Have you ever felt invisible? Like you're just a ghost drifting through crowded hallways, a silent observer in your own life? That was Salim. At 15, the world felt like a stage where everyone else had a speaking part, while he was just part of the scenery. His ideas were whispers lost in the wind, his feelings, secrets locked away. He was there, but not really. No one saw him, or so he thought. One night, as the city lights painted soft patterns on his bedroom wall, something shifted. A shadow detached itself from the usual mess of furniture and books. It wasn't just any shadow. It was his. But this one stood taller, straighter. It had a presence, a confidence that Salim only dreamed of. And then it spoke. The voice wasn't menacing or strange. It was familiar, like a long-lost part of himself. "You've kept me hidden for a long time," the shadow said, its voice a steady, calm echo. "But I'm tired of the dark." It wasn't a monster from a nightmare. It was a mirror, reflecting a side of Salim he'd pushed down for years. This was the part of him that wasn't afraid. The shadow reached out, not with a physical hand but with a pull on his memories. Suddenly Salim was no longer in his room. He was back in our class, a brilliant idea for a mural sketched in his notebook. But his hand never went up. The teacher asked for suggestions, and Salim's voice caught in his throat. He saw the moment pass, his idea fading like a forgotten dream, as someone else's much simpler concept was praised. The shadow stood beside him, watching. "You were afraid they'd laugh," it whispered. But what if they had loved it? The scene dissolved and reformed. Now he was at lunch with his friends. They were planning a weekend trip, and everyone was shouting out ideas. Salim wanted to suggest a hike to the old observatory, a place he loved, but the fear of being told it was a boring idea sealed his lips. He just nodded along, agreeing to a movie he'd already seen twice. "Your voice is a gift," the shadow murmured, its form unwavering. "Why do you treat it like a burden?" Again and again, the shadow guided him through a gallery of his own quiet moments. The time he saw a classmate drop their books and wanted to help, but hesitated too long. The time he knew the answer in math class but stayed silent, letting the awkward quiet stretch on. Each memory was a small paper cut, a tiny surrender. Through the shadow's eyes, Salim saw not his failures, but his potential. He saw the boy who could have been, the friend, the leader, the artist. He saw a stronger version of himself, a version he desperately wanted to be. With each vision, Salim felt a shift inside. The shame he always felt was being replaced by something else, a flicker of understanding. The shadow wasn't a reminder of his weakness. It was a testament to the strength he'd been hiding. "You think I am your fear," the shadow said, its voice now softer, warmer. "You think I am the reason you hide. But look closer, Salim. I am not the cage. I am the key." And in that moment, Salim understood. This shadow wasn't a separate entity. It was his own courage, buried under layers of self-doubt and what-ifs. It was the part of him that wanted to speak up, to stand tall, to be seen. He had mistaken his own potential for a monster in the dark. The journey through his past wasn't a criticism. It was an invitation. The next day at school, the air was thick with the usual lunchtime chaos. Sunlight streamed through the windows, and for the first time, Salim didn't feel the need to find a corner to disappear into. He was walking with his friend Ali when a group of older students blocked their path. A sneering voice cut through the noise, directed at Ali. "Still wearing those hand-me-downs? Didn't your mom get the memo that the 90s are over?" Salim felt the familiar cold grip of fear. His first instinct was to look away, to pretend he didn't hear, to merge with the brick wall behind him. He glanced to his side, looking for his shadow, for that confident silhouette to tell him what to do, but it was gone. The bright school corridor left no room for it. He was alone. He looked at Ali, who was staring at the floor, his face flushed with humiliation. And then he looked at the bullies, their smirks fueled by his friend's silence. He thought of all the moments he had let slip by, all the times his own silence had been a form of agreement. Another memory, another regret. But this time was different. A new feeling was bubbling up, stronger than the fear. It was the echo of the shadow's voice. It was the memory of his own hidden strength. The choice was his, and his alone. The shadow wasn't there to save him. It had simply shown him that he could save himself. Taking a deep breath, Salim took a step forward. His heart was hammering against his ribs, but his voice, when it came out, was clear. "Hey, leave him alone." It wasn't a shout, it wasn't a threat, it was just a statement. Simple, direct. The lead bully turned, surprised. "What did you say?" Salim met his gaze. The fear was still there, a hummingbird in his chest, but he didn't back down. "I said, leave him alone. There's no need for that." For a second, the corridor was silent. The bully and his friends stared, thrown off balance. They were expecting fear, not quiet defiance. After a tense moment, the bully just scoffed, shook his head, and walked away, his group trailing behind him. They were looking for an easy target, not a confrontation. Ali looked up, a mixture of shock and gratitude on his face. You did that?" Salim offered a small, tentative smile. "Yeah, I guess I did." He didn't feel like a hero. He didn't feel like he had suddenly become a different person. He still felt the fear, the echo of it, but for the first time, he had walked through it. He had discovered that courage wasn't about being fearless. It was about being afraid and doing the right thing anyway. It was about taking that first step, even when your legs are shaking. Walking away, Salim felt the warmth of the sun on his back. He didn't need to see his shadow to know it was there. It wasn't trailing behind him anymore. It was inside him. It had always been. We all carry a shadow. It follows us, a silent companion in our journey. We might think it's our fear, our insecurity, the part of us that holds us back. But maybe we've been looking at it all wrong. Maybe that shadow is not our fear. Maybe it's our courage, just waiting for a little light to be seen. Thanks for watching. If this story resonated with you, consider subscribing for more.